Thank you very much, guys. I am joined here by Prolly, coach of the spring split, I might add. No pressure there, buddy, in the summer split. Let's start off by talking about how strong you guys were yesterday. Came out the gate swinging against Roccat. Let's briefly talk about how you felt that game went, as well as what your opinion is on the LCS teams after one day of games.
So that game, the first 10 minutes was actually really uncharacteristic of us. I thought the team was just kind of getting more used to the stage, and then the level 1 debacle with bot lane kind of snowballed. So definitely the first 10 minutes were really weird for us. We hadn't really played that style of game, so it's definitely a new thing we got to look at and kind of revamp, what happens if this happens again, guys. But after that, I think we had a really good mid and late game. Everything kind of went the way it was supposed to in scrims. And the reason why it was surprising to see this was because in scrims, we never did anything like this correctly. This was all kind of taught and shown in scrims with replays. But when we actually came to LCS, they actually did it correctly, when in scrims, the game's always thrown by doing something funny. So they always stress me out during scrims, but it's always relieving to see them play LCS.
Well, very nicely done. Congratulations on the victory there. Let's talk about the team. You've talked about scrims and training mentality and techniques. It worked on stage, didn't all fair. Something else that H2K had a problem with was adapting to the Cinderhulk meta. It's been quite a while since those changes came into place. How do you feel your team is performing now in the current state of the game?
Well, the Cinderhulk changes were a big blow to us because, yeah, one, we were slow to it, and two, it was a really big buff to Cinderhulk players. So it was a meta shift in a really big way. And currently the meta is shifting kind of slowly. I think almost one role at a time it's shifting. So I think right now for us, it's really important to find kind of like our team meta, what we do best. And if another team kind of finds a model that we can follow, then we might take parts of that. But realistically, it's more of finding out the fundamentals that make our team work and kind of build off of that.
Well, fair play. It's fundamentals that got you the third place in the spring split. I want to talk about the team you are about to face right now, Origin on the opposite side. Straight out of Challenger Series, how do you approach a team that is relatively fresh to the LCS stage, despite knowing the players for an exceptional amount of time?
Well, I think not being able to play at an LCS, like the LCS caliber teams, I think is really hard for a Challenger team to get, because there's certain game aspects that you don't really learn. Kind of like ending the game correctly is really hard for a Challenger team to learn, because it's almost impossible to find it in scrims. No one will play like they do on stage in scrims. So them jumping back into the LCS scene, I think they are going to be a little rough towards the late game. And I think a really safe game plan going into this game would be, play safe laning phase and go to mid-late and just beat them strategically. But I really don't want to approach it that way. I really want to approach it like we need to take this game from the beginning to the end. So I really didn't stretch any caution to the players, and I really want them to go out and show how strong our early game has gotten and kind of take the game from there.
Well, thank you so much. You've heard it from Prolly first. Go ham in the laning phase. You can join your team for picks and bans and pass on that note once again. Thank you, Prolly. Now, as we go to the casters to take us into game 1 here of day 2, we actually sat